What's up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Here continuing with our ATC layout and mission coverage. We're on the fifth layout, which is going to be layout 8. This is the last layout ATC is using for the 5-man event. I'm not going to do the 8-man event because I'm only attending the 5-man event. So feel free to like, subscribe, help get this content out to other people. It really helps the channel grow. It means a lot to me. But let's go ahead and bring up what layout 8 looks like. So as you can see here, this one, the middle is much more cluttered than the last few we've looked at. You really don't have a lot of good firing lines across the table. You got one through here, but anything else, it's really going to be hard to find angles. You got a couple short shooting lanes through these sides here, but I think this layout, layout 8 and layout 1, will be the two best for combat armies. Because you can stage, push middle, just kind of limit the shots that they can put on you. So I think layout 1's slightly better still, but this one with these here can still help. But if you get middle here, they will be able to find lines to you from everywhere. But there's just not a shooting gallery from this side to this side. So you can get a little closer before they start lighting you up, I believe. So that being said, I'll go ahead and start setting up that first missions. And so once I get those set up, I'll be right back. All right, so this is pretty much what layout 8 is going to look like with tipping points on it. Once again, like a lot of these, all 4 of the outside objectives are going to be able to be held from inside cover. Actually, these are all mostly within cover. A couple of them, the 2 side ones here, can pretty much be held from in cover without really being contested from the outside. They're going to have to come through to contest, which hopefully you'll have your shots lined up to defend. So really, like, this is almost like their 2 objectives here and their 2 objectives here, because that's going to be the easiest 2 for you to hold. Although if you have a combat army, this is not hard to pressure here. Shooting is a little harder to pressure because you'd have to get back around here, but a combat army can pressure this really hard. Center, combat and shooting can both pressure. There are lines into shooting there. There's that. And then the first mission is Purge the Foe. Turn 1, kill a unit for 4 points. From the second turn on, kill a unit for 4 points. Kill more units for 4 points. So potential 8 there, and that's per battle round. And then objectives, starting turn 2, you get 5 for holding 1, you get 10 for holding 2. Sorry, no, you get 4 for holding 1, you get additional 4 for holding 2. So it's potential 8. The 8 for holding objectives, you can both score because it's your command phase, hold more. But the killing, only one of you can get killed more because it is per battle round. The mission special rule is Smoke and Mirror. That's the one that lets you put up to a unit worth up to 500 points into reserve after you've deployed. So you both deploy, and then you can pick up a unit and put it back into reserves. It can be up to 500 points, and it can let you exceed the amount of stuff you're normally allowed to have in reserves. And then the other mission that'll be played on this layout is Take and Hold, which will probably be the 4th mission. Now this is just each objective is worth 5 up to 15. Turn 5, whoever has second scores bottom of the round. One of the most simple missions there is. And then the mission special rule for this is Raise Banners. If you have a battle line unit on an objective and you control it at the end of your turn, raise a banner, gain 1 secondary point. And just a reminder, those do count for secondary, not primary. So that's really all for this layout. And then we'll go ahead for these missions, this deployment. I'll go ahead and set up the next 2, and I'll be right back. All right, so here's what layout 8 looks like with the search and destroy deployment set up. So once again, you should be able to hold all the objectives from in. Oh, I put the last piece of terrain back. Should be able to hold all the objectives from within the terrain. These 2 just barely. Should be able to toe in the back. But everything else, the way. So you're not going to have these high up objectives. Oops, the pressure, but it should hopefully be a little easier to hold this one. So that makes the center objective more important in this mission than in the other one. In this deployment than the other deployments. So then the first mission, which should be mission 2, which is mission J, will be linchpin. So you get 3 points for holding this backfield of your home objective, and then each other objective is worth 5. But if you lose control of your home field objective, then each of the others is only worth 3. So it's really important to keep control of this one. And then the mission rule for this one is raise the banners again. So just have the battle line on an objective. At the end of your turn to control it, they auto raise the banner for 1 secondary point. It's not an action, so you can do this with 1 unit, one battle line every turn automatically, just for controlling the objective and being on it. The second one is Burden of Trust. That one you get 4 VP for holding the ones that are not in your deployment zone or no man's land. Not in your deployment zone. So all 4 of these would be worth 4 for you if you were deployed here. This one is worth 0 for that. But then you can have units guard any objective you control. And this doesn't specify not in your deployment zone. And if the unit you have guarding is still on the objective and controlling it at the end of your opponent's turn, you get 2 extra points. So I believe you can still do that here. And it does work on all the other objectives as well. And then the special rule for this one is prepared positions. It just lets you use go to ground and heroic intervention for 0 CP on a battle line unit. And you can't duplicate the strat if you've already done it. So in linchpin, this is your most important objective. In burden of trust, this is your least important objective. So it really have this deployment, and that really changes a little bit of how you play it both times. But that's it for Search and Destroy. So we'll go ahead and get ready to set up for the last missions. All right, so this is what Crucible of Battle looks like on Layout 8. A quick thing back to the last deployment. When I went to move these objectives, I realized I didn't move this objective for Search and Destroy. It should have been back here in the same position that this objective was on that deployment. So basically just back inside of these. So just take that into consideration. That one objective should have been moved back here when I did Search and Destroy. All right, Crucible of Battle. Once again, you can hold all 4 from just inside the terrain. So this is really a favorable one for combat armies. So then first mission is Scorched Earth. This is one where you can burn an objective that's outside your deployment zone. If you burn one of the No Man's Land's objectives, it's worth 5 points. If you burn the one in your opponent's deployment zone, it is worth 10. And then you get 5 points for each objective you control, up to 10. And those can be burning is No Man's Land. Yeah, so you can control any objective, so even your home field objective, or the regular 5, but for burning, it has to be in No Man's Land or your opponent's side. You can only get the 10 BP for holding objectives per turn, so you are going to max out at 40 if you don't burn anything. Then the mission special rule for this one is Inspired Leadership. If your warlord is outside of your deployment zone and within 9 of one of your units and visible to them, they get +1 to battle shot. Then the last mission is Ritual. On Ritual, we pull these 2 objectives. And this is one where you have an action that you can perform to raise new objectives. They have to be exactly 12 inches from another objective in No Man's Land. So starting, it'll be this objective, but then you can start raising off the other No Man's Land's objective. The objective has to be raised in No Man's Land and within 1 inch of the unit doing the action. And then starting turn 2, you get 5 points per objective in No Man's Land that you hold, up to 15. So your home objectives are only worth secondary points possibly in this mission. That's it. And then the mission special rule for this one is Swift Action, which lets you advance or fall back with the battle line unit and still do an action. So that's really it for that. You're probably going to end up with 3 to 4 objectives in the middle of most games. could possibly end up with like 5 or 6. But that's it for layout 8. That's it for our layout coverage for ATC. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.